Yes. Hello, dear investors. Hello, dear investors. Here in the background, you can see Lufthansa Aviation Training, the training center of Lufthansa here at Bremen Airport. And you know, when I am at the airport and making recordings for you, it means that I am flying directly to a company on site to take a closer look at this company and to present it to you in sound and image. This time I am flying to Mexico, the future host of the next Football World Cup. I am flying to Mexico City, but I won't stay in Mexico City. Instead, I need to go a bit further out for a few hours to visit a company on site. Yes, the two important precious metals are also named after themselves, namely gold and silver. Gold and silver, the two precious metals. I believe it is not entirely wrong to have these precious metals covered in some form as part of a healthy, reasonable asset allocation. Whether in physical form by having coins or bars, or perhaps as an ETF by holding a Zetra gold ETF, or even in the form of stocks, such as gold mining stocks, or silver mining stocks that are active in this sector, and a company in this sector is active in Mexico. Yes, I will take a closer look at everything on site and take you along on this journey.
So, good morning, Marco. Nice to see you again.
Good morning, André. How was Mexico? Nice to see you again.
Wow, no. Very nice. Where are we here?
We are here in Mexico City, more specifically, just a moment, in a city called Santa Fe. Really a beautiful new district that has been built here in recent years. But we are not staying here.
We are not staying here exactly. This is here for that. We are at an altitude of 2,500 meters, I heard. That's why the works come out fresh.
The air is quite decent as well. Yes, I had to bundle up again. I must say I wasn't prepared for this. I had expected different climatic conditions.
Exactly. And today, as you rightly said, we will be visiting Sierra Madre Mining. I am really looking forward to it because this is a mine visit, a functioning mine that has just gone into production. Exactly. A company that we financed a long time ago in the VIP club, and that has now successfully transitioned from an explorer to a producer. We will take a closer look at it later. I am very curious about it.
I am really excited about it because this is truly uncharted territory. In the visits I have made so far, the projects were usually either just in the initial phase or a bit more advanced. However, they were not mines that were in production. And now, since I am a shareholder in the company, I am looking forward to seeing the ongoing production on site. Hopefully.
Exactly. So we need to leave soon because the first concentrate is being shipped today. It will be a premiere. And so that we can still catch it in the morning, I would say let's head out. Alex Langer, the CEO, has already picked us up. Now just going over to say hello. I see the car already. And hi, Alex. Nice to meet you. Yes. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Looking forward to it.
We are now here at the entrance of La Guitarra, the mine. On the right side, we can see the entrance to the mountain, a large black hole, and from there, the iron ore is transported out of the mountain, not today by hand-driven carts, but by large diesel vehicles.
Here, they are divided into different zones. This means, based on which shaft they come from, how the different lines are arranged. They are therefore divided according to the lines. The rest operates completely electrically under mountains. Here we have the large power station for that. Here is the entrance to the mine. Of course, where there is work being done, there will also be shavings. That's why there is a dedicated mechanics department here that is basically always repairing things non-stop. Yes, Super Mario, exactly. He is called that because he has been working in this mine for 40 years since he was 14. And now he is 80 and still works here. Crazy. I would like to know what the man has done with his life. I would like to do the same. Except maybe working his whole life in the mine, but not that. But I would know. I bet he has lived very healthily.
quadruphere level.
After a long drive through the winding tunnels of the mine, we have finally arrived at our destination, the bustling work area deep within the mine. The journey was quite an experience as we navigated through the dimly lit passages, feeling the cool, damp air, feeling the distant echo of the machine. Now, standing here in the heart of the mine, we are surrounded by the sights and sounds of industrial. The work area is alive with miners diligently working, machinery humming, and the occasional rumble of distant blasts. This is where the real work happens, where raw materials are extracted and the lifeblood of the mine flows. It's a fascinating and vital part of the mining operation, and being here gives us a true sense of the scale and importance of the work being done. This sign indicates that work is being done in the back area. You might also see some workers on the camera who are preparing there. And this is actually a restricted area. You cannot enter here.
Where there is planing, shavings fall, or here, it's more likely that stones fall.
Yes, stones tend to fall here, that's right. And above all, drilling is also done here, and we make ourselves noticeable with the light, and then we get feedback on whether we can enter, whether they are currently in some work situations where they don't want any kind of through traffic, but I believe we were signaled that we can go in here shortly.
And what are they drilling there? Is it for exploration or is it for production?
This is for production. Here, the preparatory measures are now taken for the subsequent production.
So that means holes are drilled and then explosives are put in there.
That's exactly how it's done.
Okay, let's get a little closer. As long as it's still safe.
Yes?
Let's go. Okay.
Okay. Hello. Rama's hammer.
2001. We are currently making good progress with the advance, which is usually going well at work. So you can already see the holes we made for the explosive. That's why the mine is called Marco, because you can see these strings here. So it looks like these stripes. Do you see them? And it's kind of like the sides of a guitar.
Crazy. We should have looked at it ourselves beforehand. Quite interesting. Here you can still see all the rock fragments. Here those are already all loose. There is bright excitement from the last explosion. Suddenly, higher grades have been found. It looks to me like that's what the discussion was about. My Spanish is a bit rusty, but I believe one is excited. We are now live as a new hole is drilled. The drill hole is then used for the explosive material to be inserted so that the explosion can be carried out. You can see the blue marking up there. Follow along the blue marking. Place the drill holes up there. It almost looks like it's millimeter work.
What you see here is that the truck is coming, and at the spot where the explosion was recently carried out, it picks up the rock, transports it, and then takes it out. But he doesn't take it all the way down. We won't show you right now where he takes it, because if he were to drive the entire normal route out of the mine, it would take way too long. So, now we have arrived at a very interesting salt hole. This is the old structure that goes all the way up through, and as you can see, the truck here then drops the rock and it falls down here. We have a structure from the very top of the upper floor so that it can be directly thrown down here.
Exactly. There are several levels. I believe we are now on the first level, basically on the first floor above, the main shaft, and we are currently 60 meters from the main shaft. The next one is, I don't know, another 50 or 60 meters higher, and then the rock falls here. So if you're lucky, something will fall here. It's like a big garbage chute in a high-rise building.
The similar principle also applies.
The best physical inventions do not need to be reinvented.
No, indeed not.
All right, then let's go back to the car.
I'm really looking forward to it now. So far, it has been very impressive.
Absolutely. we are back again. We have returned to daylight and are all safe and sound. And it was a super exciting experience to be able to see underground where the rock actually comes from. We saw how it is prepared, how the explosions are set up. We also saw how the blasted rock was transported. And yes, this is how the circle closes when we are back at the surface. I'll show that briefly behind me. These are the piles where the rock is deposited, differentiated by various grades, and also by different shafts where it is moved back and forth so that it can be mixed appropriately in the mill, allowing for the highest recovery rate to be achieved here. This is then a chemical matter for experts in the mine to essentially decide which rock concentrates should be mixed together to create the optimal mix. But I must say, being underground was very exciting, a truly remarkable experience.
Whenever you enter or leave the mine, ensure you are fully ready to do it. This is the display, and our guests have already been taken down, as safety is the top priority. So here you can see who is currently in the mine, because if there is an emergency situation, you know exactly who is in the mine and how many people there are in order to be able to quickly intervene with the response team, as there is a rescue team available.
So I asked if 15 days is enough to keep the facility running. And here the rock continues further forward, specifically into the so-called ore chute, which is where the iron ore, or the mineralized rock, is fed in. You can think of it as the mouth to the crusher. There is one. A crusher is a unit, which we will see shortly. It looks like a large washing machine, and inside the rock is crushed, but for now it goes in here first. This is then processed with air, using high pressure air to reduce the water content, and yes, from here it goes, as mentioned, into the crushers.
I believe the crusher even has a point here, but I think it's called the grizzly or something like that. So it's a voracious eater because it consumes everything that comes in.
Yes, the big mouth, that is everything that comes in.
What's he doing for dancing? Or a lot of dancing.
Finished concentrate. Water is naturally still dissolved. Now it comes out here at 2001, for example. It's then also caught, goes through these pipes here that we see, over into the tank, where the moisture of the third step is drawn off, so that it can then be sold as finished concentrate. The slag that is transported over here to these presses is actually nothing more than a press that is also used for olive oil. In a figurative sense, at least, the mechanical process is very similar. And then the last water is pressed out, and afterwards it falls down here and is collected here
Here we can also see the concentrate at the bottom. I think you can see it quite well. It is then swept together at the front and waits for its transport. Yes, we are now at the point where money is finally being made in the mine, because here the concentrate, the silver concentrate, is being loaded onto trucks that go directly to the raw material traders, who buy the concentrate before it is further processed into pure silver in the smelter in 2001. And what we see here is essentially a huge, gigantic kitchen scale down below. So it's not for 100 grams of flour, but for an entire truck. The empty weight of the truck is now being measured because, of course, it needs to be deducted. At the end of the day, when the empty weight is known, the truck proceeds. As we can see now, the truck is about to turn the corner and will then be loaded with the concentrate that we see back there. And then he comes back onto this loading area, not loading ramps, but onto the scale. Yes, exactly. And then it is bent again, and then you know how much concentrate is on it, because that is ultimately what the raw material traders, Sierra Madre, have to pay for the Söder concentrate per ton.
What I find very good is that the weighing process and the filling happen right in one place here. As we know, there are raw material traders like those at Arubi's, where fraud has occurred. Trucks have entered with water tanks, hidden underneath, and then the water was secretly dumped on the premises through the drain. This way, they had more weight when entering and actually left with more goods, making a good profit. This cannot happen here now, or it cannot take place, because everything here is directly less ME. And now we see here, we are also one of the first to be loaded here and then transported away.
The interesting thing is that this concentrate we see lying behind us currently has a market value of about $5,000 per ton of concentrate, and around 30 tons, or maybe even a few more, I believe 5 and 30 tons, will be loaded onto it. This means that a shipment is worth $150 and $75,000. This currently corresponds to the level with the handbrake engaged. This is where approximately 1 week's production is produced. That means we can calculate where we currently stand. It's definitely a good start, but it's crazy when you see the dust lying on the ground and then think, okay, that's worth $5,000 per ton.
Yes, from a distance it simply looks like there are sand hills. These are very, very valuable sand hills. Thousands, that has to be said. It is indeed very impressive.
Exactly. Now we see here, the truck has just been weighed with its valuable cargo on board. Now we need to unload a bit again, because we are only allowed a maximum of 35 tons of cargo on the truck, which is still a significant value at $5,000 per ton. After the truck has been weighed, the entire concentrate is evenly spread on the truck and shaped into a transportable form.
What we are currently seeing live is actually this drilling process. A total of 50 drill holes are made across the entire truck. You can see this small bowl where what has been drilled out is collected and packed into these bags. And we see someone there who is always pulling in with 2 rods. This is used to check the moisture level. It is really quite interesting to see the entire process unfold live on site in a mine, because you usually only have certain images in your head. Mining, you think of extracting some nuggets or something similar from movies, but of course it's completely different when you take a close look at how work is done here. And above all, there is a lot of English work involved. I didn't expect that here on site, and I will simply keep that in mind the next time I am at the jewelry store and perhaps need a bit of silver jewelry or gold, or when I visit my coin dealer and buy a coin, considering how much effort actually goes into producing that final product before I can hold it in my hands.
And I don't know if you can see it, but down there, if we go down here, there are already some plastic scrubs and seals. The truck is sealed up there, and then seals are applied so that no one can take anything out during transport. And then this truck is already on its way to the raw material dealer at the Pacific. The buyer from Sierra Madre has its deposits, and from there, I assume, though we don't know, and Sierra Madre doesn't know either, that the silver then goes directly to China
in 2001, where it is most likely used in solar panels. But as I said, the important point is here. The truck then goes out here, up from the gate of the mine onto the road. From that moment on, the raw material dealer, the buyer, takes full responsibility for the valuable cargo, and Sierra Madre is whatever the current market price is, and then the money goes on its journey. Yes.
Yes, indeed. We have now reached the conclusion of this video. We hope that you enjoyed this video as much as we enjoyed our time at this producing mine. Oh yes, the information we received about it. And we hope that we were able to convey this information and provide you with a more detailed insight into a producing gold and silver mine in these last around 26 minutes. You see here in the background of me, La Guitarra geology and exploration potential, once again the mine. The property in more detail, and yes, especially the potential that this mine could have for significant expansion here in the coming years. Expansion is a good keyword here in my conclusion, as we have seen on site in these days how the entire process unfolds, from the extraction of rock from the mine with all the machinery, through all the processes, including the chemical processes, all the way to the finished silver concentrate, which is then transported from the property by trucks. And we have seen what the current capacity is, what the company can process here per day, but we have also seen the places where the company can significantly expand production with relatively small capex, with an investment of smaller millions, single-digit millions here. While it may not quite double, one can add about 50 to 60% on top, with a small investment in the smaller area in order to generate entirely different amounts. We now have a rough idea, yes, that we need about a week in advance for the trucks, what we have seen, and we know approximately how many US dollars the company earns per truck that goes out. So we can also calculate what is currently being generated per month during the test phase that we have observed. This is very, very important, especially the potential that Sierra Madre offers as a company, but also as a stock for investors in the near future. If you enjoyed the video, please leave us a like down below or subscribe to the channel, as we plan to visit more companies in the coming months. You will, of course, receive immediate information when we are on site at a company again and let you be part of it. We wish you continued success with your investments in the stock market, always good fortune, and the right choices. Please also note, as we mentioned at the very beginning of the video, disclaimer, we have been paid by the company for visiting them on site, and André and I have both been shareholders of the company for many years. There is clearly a conflict of interest here.